So because the nose is the very last thing for this portrait, I thought I'd just do it in real time, so hopefully that's helpful for people to see how it's done. So what I've done firstly is just gone and done the rough outline of the shape of the nose and where the darker areas are going to be. There's some lighter areas up here and onto the right hand side, and we've got like a little dot here and a little light bit under the nostril. So what I'm going to do to start with is probably go over with a warm grey one, just to give it a nice base layer, and this will smooth out the help to smooth out the texture of the nose and give you a nice smooth layer to go onto. What I might do as well is just put a little bit of white wax, waxy pencil. So this is a Holbein soft white, and I'll just rub off the excess here, because I don't want to go in with a dirty pencil. And just do a little bit of white here, just to make sure that we preserve that white area. And also on this side a little bit. I'm not doing it really hard because these areas aren't that light. I will still be going over them with other colours. And then this one, and then a little bit here. Perfect. So we'll go over with the warm grey one and try to avoid those areas that we've just put the white in. So when I'm doing this, I'm just doing like small circular motions. There's no sort of real direction that there's no fur direction or anything that we need to worry about. So just small circular motions so it's nice and smooth. Perfect. So start going a little bit darker on the outline. And through the middle here there's like a white line in the shadow where like the little middle of the nose is. So we'll go around that. Perfect. So I'm just going to put some dark indigo into the nostril just to make it a little bit darker. So if I just keep going in with the black or the dark sepia, it will make it too like flat, and whereas this makes it a little bit more interest, a little bit more dimension. So this nostril on the right hand side looks a bit weird, but in the reference photo it's actually quite black, so you probably won't really be able to see it by the end of it. I'm just trying to preserve it now to help get the shape of everything. So then a little bit thicker. Cool, so then what we're going to do is go in with the sky blue, and this will just start to darken up. We'll go into like the dark areas to start to get the shape that we want. So the nose is pretty blue in a lot of areas. I think I want to get rid of this line a little bit actually. It's a little bit too liney. This black line, dark sepia line. So this will pretty much go all over. Again, small circular motions to make it all smooth. You don't want any like big lines or anything in there. Into this highlight a little bit because it's very blue in here. So you just sort of go into like the darker areas and then you just go in and start to make everything a little bit darker and do more layers. So you're not really using any more pressure on the pencil, you're just doing extra layers. So I'm not going to go in here and, like, even though this bit is really, really dark, you're not going to go in with a really firm pressure. You just need to build up the layers really gradually. So all the way up here. Nice and smooth. So where I've put that white down, the wax resist, so you can go over it a couple of times. It'll make it a little bit bluer, but you can see that it's not really putting much pencil down because there's the wax resist there, and that's exactly what we want. Perfect. So we can start going in with the darker blues to get a really dark, deep colour. So I'm going to go in with a Delft Blue. Again, like small circular motions. I might just sharpen this one. Make everything sway, sorry. So small circular motions, getting really, really dark in these areas that are very dark. Still light layers, just darker colour. So I'm making sure just to keep looking at my reference photo and making sure that I'm putting the dark areas where they need to be. So you can see it looks quite odd at the moment, but it'll come together. You just got to trust the process. On this little bit here, it's a little bit sort of grey-y, like greeny tone. So I'm going to use the olive brown yellowish just to go into this area here. So putting the blue and then the green over the blue, it will sort of make like a grey effect and darken it up, and that's what we want. So these colours are pretty good together. And then I'll just blend it in a little bit by going around the area with that colour too. So like I said, this area is really, really dark, so we probably won't even see that nostril sort of by the end of it. So it doesn't really matter if we sort of lose the shape. And then, yeah, this bit here as well is a little bit green, so we'll go up here with the green. Again, remember, always like a light pressure. I'm not going in and smashing down any colour or anything. It's all just really light layers. You just go over and do more layers where it's darker. So blend in some more sky blue where it's a little bit lighter in tone. And then in the middle here is a little bit darker. And blend, blend. Some green in there as well. Alright, over here a bit. So I'm just swapping between like the Delft Blue, the olive green yellowish, and the sky blue. And then to make it a little bit darker and go a little bit more grey tone, I'm going to put some of the green over, because that will make it a little bit darker without having to add any of the grey tones, making it look flat. Really light over this bit because we just want it to look like there's a little bit of like a ripple effect in the light and darkness. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is just blend a bit of this together with the sky blue, because we've got a lot of the tones in there, but they're sort of, the tooth of the paper is still coming through. So if we go in and just lightly, with kind of a firm pressure I guess, blend those colours together, it will sort of smush all the colours together and saturate the paper a little bit more. And then we can go over with like the darker tones, like the dark sepia, the dark indigo, and really get darker in all of the areas that need it. So firm pressure. circular motions, making sure to go around all of those dark areas. A little darker there. Covering all of the tooth of the paper. Go again over that highlight. So as you get darker around the nose, you'll notice that the highlight will start to need to be pushed back a little bit. So we need to make it a little bit bluer, not so white. And at the end, we'll go in with the white waxy pencil and make it a little bit darker anyway. A bit brighter, sorry. So we're going with the dark indigo, and so I can see now that I've made this darker, this nostril needs to be a little bit bigger. Perfect, and then we can just start going around with small circular motions and making all of the areas darker again. They need it. This is a bit too blue actually, I might just do the dark sepia. So again, like sort of like a firm pressure on the dark sepia, but not going in too hard again, like we don't want to go in at our hardest pressure. Small circular motions, just getting it a little bit darker, and we can go around the highlight areas again. And this one. And so because we're getting darker around this light bit is now too light, so we need to keep going in with the lighter colours and darkening it up a little bit so that it matches and it's not sticking out like a sore thumb sort of thing. Maybe a bit of green on the edge. Yes. Make this a bit darker. Dark sepia. So it's just gradually getting darker. Going around all the different areas. Darken this bit a little bit, blend it in a little bit more. This bit up the top is more like a darker blue colour, not like a grey colour. So keep going with the Delft Blue. Excuse me. And it's like more of a greeny tone sort of up here. Let's keep going in with the green. Not too much though. So there's some little dot bits here, like little pore bits on the nose. So we're going to do a few little dots and lightly shade around it. It'll add to the texture. This nose is really dark, so it's hard to see all of the lighter areas. We'll just do our best. Making sure not to lose like the darkest areas as well. Make that bit a little bit bluer, the light blue. Blend, 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 and then we can go over and blend again. Blend all of those colours together. Make this a little bit bluer, not so green. A little bit more. So then this highlight can go a lot darker, but it's sort of like pore texture again. So I'm just going to go in and do sort of really little like squiggly bits. So sort of like going in like this, like in wiggly lines. That's like really exaggerated, sort of like that. But really tiny and really soft pressure. And then we sort of blend over it with the lighter colours. And then do the same sort of thing with the darker colours. Delft Blue. And you're sort of using like the grain of the paper as well to help you get that texture, which is helpful. Cool, so blend over a little bit with the darker colour just to blend it in on the edges. More blending down here. More blue in. Cool. So we're nearly getting to the point where we need to just add in some white texture, and that will really make it sort of pop. I think as well I might use some of the warm grey 3 just to go around this section of the nose. I just use my sanding block and just make this really, really sharp. We can go around this little section. It's not black, but it is like a line there to say that it is the end of the nose. And then really, really lightly go up and just add it in. And so what we also need to do is connect the nose with the muzzle. So I'm just going to go in with some warm grey 3 and just blend a little bit because there's still some of the tooth of the paper showing, to flatten it down a bit. This will give it a little bit more sort of grey tone. More blue, dark sepia. And then we'll blend this down a little bit more. Gradually getting darker, gradually getting darker. Cool, so then what we'll do, he's looking all right, a little bit shiny. So we just need to blend this down a little bit so that the muzzle meets the nose. So we use some of the warm grey 1 and match it up. So in the direction of the fur, so it goes out to the right and then up and over to the left. I'll add in a few little fur textures, even though you can't really see it. Fur textures. And then this colour here is kind of a little bit purple. So I think as well what I want to do, so up here as well there's a little bit of purple in tone. So adding purple into noses is really good for making the colour pop and it stand out a little bit more. So not too much. So maybe the darkest areas. Maybe a little bit at the side of the highlights as well. Gives it more interest, a little bit more definition. So that would just make the colour pop a little bit more by putting a bit of the white in. here. Makes it a little bit more poppy. So what I think I'll do now is just continue on adding the rest of this fur here. I need to add some more around here, and then I'm going to maybe do a little bit more on the muzzle because this needs to be a lot darker in many places in this whole section. And then, yeah, leave it overnight, come back, reassess, have a look again, and then we can go from there. But his nose is looking pretty boopable. Boop. So finally it's just time to put in the whiskers, and these are the final touches of the wolf. If you've made it this far, I really hope that you've enjoyed the tips and tricks to create this boopable nose. If you did follow along and complete a nose like this, please do tag me on Instagram or let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to know what you're working on and if these tips and tricks have helped. For the full tutorial of this wolf, have a look at the other video on my YouTube channel. And if you'd like to see photos of the completed piece, add me on Instagram and you can have a look there. So if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe to get posted about any new tutorials coming in the future. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.